Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton and Adam, as we are every Tuesday. And wow, man, the engines are starting to fire up. It's Florida Speed Weeks. We'll talk a bit about that later. Some of our friends and crews have already been down there racing. A lot more headed down there. And if you're not racing, there's still a ton on the way. So how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Was that a really short intro tonight? Like I thought the music usually plays longer because it just started and then all of a sudden we were on the screen. I'm glad I wasn't still picking my teeth.
I don't know. We were talking about a bunch of things, so I didn't even pay attention to the countdown. I just hear the last whoosh and away we go. On tonight's program, we're going to welcome broadcaster extraordinaire Todd Lewis. He'll be on to talk about IndyCar, NASCAR, and all things racing. We're also going to have Jeff Cassidy on from Sawbull Speedway to talk about the future there and where things are headed up at the beach. And we're also going to have Terry Vince on from Humberstone Speedway. There's a lot of questions about where Humberstone's direction is going to be this year, and Terry will come on and put it right from the horse's mouth. He's also got a new association with Glenn Steyer's Racing and their new engine deal, GSR competition engine. So Terry will talk a bit about that, what's going on inside GSR, and what the future holds for them on the engine side. And of course, any other topics you viewers want to talk about. That's why topic number one is viewer's choice. What do you want to talk about, Adam?
The biggest race that happened on the weekend at Glenn Steyer's Racing. Some iRacing, Valhalla Mobile hosting. Are they all called Resi 500s? I'm not even sure.
Well, TJ has been coming along very good. Let's talk about that too. So TJ Martin and our friend at Valhalla Mobile, and I love TJ, kid with a dream, and everybody laughed at him when he said, I want to put mobile rigs in a trailer and do this birthday party, and he's taking out. It's gone well. He's making it work, and he drew all you guys out there on a winter Sunday to all hang out and race, which is the core mission of a lot of things we do here, right, Adam, is to get people together 52 weeks of the year. How was it?
It was fantastic. Connor Ross is still nursing an injury from the event. Cam
What?
Thompson took the win. He stomped on his willie, like he had the thing won. And Owen Bunn was there. Owen Bunn did great top three finish. So Cam Thompson took the win. Spencer, I just sent a picture to the chat if you want to throw it up because it's all fun and games until Cam Thompson's holding up $750. Paid out the top five, met some new friends. So Jordan Hill was second, Owen Bunn third, Connor was fourth, Sean Morissette was fifth. And Sean, nobody really knew who Sean was. I guess he just kind of happened along and saw it online and thought it'd be cool to come out and support it. So everyone had a good time, and that's the main thing. TJ does a great job making it enjoyable, serving up food. Everyone gets to bench race on the side. I mean, I had a great time talking with the Bunn family. I always do. And sometimes, though, I feel bad for things like this, Clinton, because people come to realize how antisocial I am. And I think it's Greg Callan rubbing off on me, but I sort of sink back into the back of a room. Like I don't really, not as loud and boisterous as I am when there's a microphone in my hand. I just kind of get out of the picture.
So let's put it out there. TJ's got two complete rigs. If you're a race team right now in Ontario, he's looking for someone who wants to host this at your race shop. He'll bring his rigs over, and you and your buddies can get in and a bit of entry fee, but paying good payouts, and you and your buddies can have a good deal. So if you're interested in that, look for Valhalla Mobile on Facebook or contact one of us. We'll put you in touch with TJ. Let's just knock off some comments, Adam, and I hope Todd got the message. I asked him to come on earlier. A bit later, and now we moved his time up a bit. I'm going to see if he can jump on now. Can you jump on now? So let's talk about a couple things down the list. First off, will the 5 events in August from Washington Speedway be streamed? The Friday will, the Monday, Tuesday will. We're still working out the deals for Saturday, Sunday. We are live at APC race with G-Force that night. And the flat track bikes have their own broadcasting contracts, so we got to figure out where they are. So that's with that. Randy and Laura asking any price on tickets for the 5-day. I think you're going to see it be all inclusive, Adam. I got that sold to Tina, which means you're going to be able to buy one price and have pit access for all 5 days if you're camped there. And I think that's going to be awesome. If you
I
want to
love
go to
that
the
idea.
yeah, you should. It was yours. And if we go to the APC race, we're working on a bus trip for the campers who want to go see APC at sunset that night. So we have a super exciting weekend planned for that. Um, that's what we got for it. G4 streamed the micro sprints at Ushbeacon. Man, that was a mess last year. We have a lot of footage in the can. We're working to get some of that edited and put up right away. The plan is to really put our best foot forward with the micro sprints and keep that going. There was another question I asked before we jumped to Todd, and that was any updates on the mini stock street stocks. Yes, you'll see an official press release out by Friday with the updates. Merrittville already had their meeting, and those guys were brought up to speed. If you send me a message, I can get you those updates. So the Ush Weekend schedule came out, and we'll discuss that later. But our first guest, Todd Lewis, is ready to join us. Todd, thanks for coming on the program. Always great to see you. How are you doing?
Guys, good to talk to you as well. I got your message just as I clicked on to watch the start of the show, guys, and you said, "Oh yeah, okay." So I clicked into so, but all good. It's nice that racing season has started on a few fronts, and if you get to go out to see an event, if you're in a climate that's conducive to that, or watching online or watching on TV or whatever, but just everybody's, I think, really getting the itch now with the schedules coming out and getting finalized. Or you're talking about a weekend schedule being finalized. That's great. So good news all around to have plenty of action for everyone to enjoy.
Todd, the picture in your background, is that this past weekend or is that last year?
No, it's this past weekend, I believe. So yes, I was. I'll make the plug now. So I was just recording a podcast with Caitlin Patrick, our Racing It Out podcast, a little while ago. So I switched the background up to the Clash because that's one of the things that we were talking about.
No, fantastic. I didn't notice, truthfully, the crowd that full in the upper levels when I tuned in. Like whenever I saw them pan to the crowd, I wasn't paying huge attention, but that's a good shot right there. Shows a good crowd.
It's nice. I think the crowd was down this year to last year, and that's understandable. It was basically the same event a year later, so I'm not surprised that it dropped off a little bit. But we'll see if they go for round 3 or not. I think that'll be the interesting question.
There's already talks that it was out there. I'm not sure, but go ahead, Adam.
I want to give NASCAR credit for trying something.
Yeah.
Has the event hasn't worn out its welcome. It's not great. But in NASCAR's defense, the last number of years of the Clash at Daytona Speedway on the Super Speedway just didn't have a crowd, didn't have a buzz, didn't have like they needed to do something. And I think that and the reason I bring this up is because there's so many people who are so quick to bash things on the internet. So I do think there's some work that can be done there, but I think they will do the work. But they're bringing the product to people who need to see it. Like Los Angeles, you get right into the heart of that market. So there are things that they're doing well. Was the race entertaining? I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I didn't like the driver introductions, but
well, okay. So let's talk about driver introductions, because you've done that, you've both done that, and you know that there's a lot of outside influences taking place while driver intros are happening. Sometimes you have people changing things and you're doing them a different way. We're not ready. You've got to speed up. You've got to slow down. If you've got someone who's never done it before, it can be a bit of a challenge and a bit difficult. Is it my choices to do it the same way every time? No, but I agree with you, Adam, that unless you do new things and different things, you become stagnant. I thought last year's event was great. It was new, it was fresh, it was unique. The entertainment was great. Racing was better than it was this year. It was, and as much as anything, it was the second half of the feature that really stunk the joint out. So but overall, last year, first event, slam dunk, 10 out of 10. It was great. Is it going to have that same kind of buzz as this year? No, it's not, because you've already done it. You know what to expect a little bit. So what happens with it for the third year? Do you do something different? Do you change it up? Do you move it somewhere else? But no, I don't think you should bash people for trying to do something new, trying to do something innovative. And to those that suggest, well, you should just do this the same way at every race, at every racetrack. How long before you're griping and bitching about how come we always do the same thing every week?
I'll give you a few points there, Todd. A couple things you said. It's not
Yeah,
fresh anymore. We've already done it. It's not. I'm thinking of the dirt race. Oh man, here we go. All these problems that I'm worried about. But these are all
yeah,
things we think about, right? So how can we make them new and fresh? I mean, I'll tell you a couple things that I agree with and a couple things I don't agree with, and you guys can jump in. So I agree they need to be in that LA market. I mean, they're trying to bring new fans in. Obviously, we're really cramming the sport in, and I'm not even going to go to the choice of music because I don't know. Maybe that is going to draw them in. It's not my cup of tea, but it could be everybody else's. So good on that. My concern is, things like that felt uncomfortable and kind of non-authentic is the biggest problem I have with anything, whether it be the news or even we learned this when we did our first broadcast at Oshweekend with the Mav TV guys. We had them everybody crowd around Adam and Greg and hold up signs. And we went live at 8 o'clock. It was the most contrived bullshit I ever seen in my life. And I'm like, we are
yeah.
never doing that again. It was so fake. So we got into the authentic. So when you have Gwen Stefani in that booth telling bad jokes with Clint Boyer, doesn't even know anything about the cars, it was just a bad look for like she needed to get the hook way early. So that's one thing I'm like, okay, that didn't fly good. That wasn't a good look for all. It was just cringeworthy for all of us. And then they have Mr. McHale, I think his name is. I don't even know what show he's
Yeah,
on, but I don't
Joel
watch a lot of
McHale.
TV.
Yeah,
Joel McHale.
So
And
I
funny
get the
guy.
tie-in. Yeah, but I get the tie-in with what you're trying to do with your other network program. But man, we're trying to put our best foot forward here. That's when you need your best guy who's going to knock it out of the park, be it Rick Allen or whoever you want to call to the forefront, to get on that mic in that stadium and rock their socks off. You don't bring
yep.
that's not the time to put in a sub. It's just not. I thought you had the whole nation watching. That was the time to give even us guys who thought this was a bad gimmick, or maybe the fans thought a chance to get excited and to feel the tingle. And I think we were all just like heads under the desk, like, oh, you're screwing it all up. And no fault in
Well, I'll tell
NASCAR
you,
choices, but it was just rough.
Go
I
ahead,
I
Adam.
like I like humor as much as anybody. Like I use it a lot, inappropriate quite often. It's funnier at the worst times than it is at the best times. But driver introductions was not the time, right? And that tough for Joel McHale, but you can't be making fun of the cute uniforms of a race team who's getting paid millions of dollars to wear these uniforms. Like, it's not that it's sacred. It's just certain things you shouldn't joke about, and there's times it's like they don't drop a lot of jokes during the prayer, not the time or the place.
Right.
Same thing there. So I'm all for trying to incorporate things. It's kind of like, to me, the Rose Bowl parade. When people come in, hop into the booth, they're there because their publicist wants them there. It's not so much they're adding to the broadcast. They're exploiting an opportunity to promote something that they're doing. So, Todd, would you say you've seen more of this than we have, Todd, because you've been more into the mainstream or with the IndyCar stuff, that there's a lot of things you need to tie in and try to make it look organic, but it's not.
You're exactly right that Joel McHale's there because he's got a new show to promote that's on Fox that's carrying the new show and carrying the race. That's why he's there. And whatever the tie-in was with Gwen Stefani, obviously she knows Clint Boyer and he knows her husband Blake Shelton. So that's the tie-in. That's why they're there. And because you're in LA, Hollywood, we need star power. We need big star power. And Gwen Stefani is a big star. So that's why you bring her in and she does her appearance and that's her thing. So you're right. Can the execution be better? 100%. The other part of it too is that you're dealing with both the live audience in the stadium and the television audience, and their needs and wants are both very different. So there are going to be times when you compromise one for the other. You guys know that dealing with a crowd in person is a lot different than dealing with a crowd watching on a stream or watching on television.
Yeah, and I mean, the racing is what the racing is. I mean, nobody bitches about Allentown, PA when the midgets are basically bumping and grinding. The TQ midgets are going out there. We're just happy to have racing. I mean, we're happy to have racing in a new market. I think all those great things are great. Like we said, there's just a few things that, you know, it wasn't the time or the place for those moments, I think,
And there's always
Shoot,
stuff you can improve.
Absolutely. I've got one question for both of you, and this wasn't so much on the broadcast, but on social media. Who is Young Gravy? Is that like 7-foot tall guy that was posing with Noah Gragson, and it looked like Shaggy almost, but real life? I had no idea who he was, but he must be someone significant because he got a lot of play.
See, that's the star power. But and the other part of it too, and I know you guys don't want to talk about this all night, but we could, is
Sure.
if you don't like the exhibition race because it doesn't follow the traditional NASCAR weekend format, and you don't like something that's different from your own musical taste, I don't care who you put as the entertainment, you're going to have a portion of your audience that doesn't like them, or you're going to say that, oh, well, we see them all the time, because there's some that suggested, well, you need to put a country act on before every race. That's what you should be doing. I love country music. I don't want to see a country act before every race because I have other interests and likes too. If it's that terrible, if it's that awful, then you know what? Maybe the exhibition race that is trying to expose the sport to a different audience or a new audience and bring in new fans, maybe that's not the one for you. There's 36 others that you can enjoy through the year.
That's a good way too.
Good
Todd, let's talk about Speed Week's kicking off. Have we let the Clash go? Let's look towards the season ahead. What are your thoughts going into NASCAR here, the States, around the deal? Dexter Stacy, we'll throw it out to you. What's on your
good for
tip of your tongue
Dexter?
today?
Isn't that great? I'm really
That's
happy
cool.
for Dexter. I'm glad that he's going to get back south and do some Xfinity series running. I think it's great. I think it's going to be really interesting to see. And I think the race on the weekend was maybe a little bit of a tease as to what we're going to see at the rest of the season. I'm really seriously interested into how Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon do as teammates. They seem to do pretty well in the exhibition race. So I think that this is going to be a very motivated Kyle Busch to get out and do well and succeed this year with his new team and driving a Chevrolet. I think that's going to be really exciting and interesting to watch. How are the Stewart-Haas teams? Kevin Harvick's last year. He will. Oh, so there you go. So no Gwen Stefani next year. It'll be Kevin Harvick who's in the Fox booth. So I guess that'll appease everyone. And that's been a move that's been in the works for years. And in fact, I think he's really good at what he does, and I think he'll be great as an analyst. And I could see him doing play-by-play or lap by lap, if you prefer, one day. He's that good.
And a lot of people don't recognize, Todd, the difference between doing a bit of color and doing play-by-play. It's pretty rare for a driver to come in and do play-by-play, and some of them do well. And I think Kevin Harvick is quick enough that he could nail that role.
Yeah, just watching him do some of the drivers only telecasts. He's the one driving the bus, and he does a great job.
Yeah, let's switch gears. IndyCar.
Yeah, I got a question. No.
All
I
right,
just said
all right,
about
sorry,
Kyle
sorry.
Busch. Kyle Busch got caught with a gun. What's your thoughts on
Yes.
that one, Todd? What do you know about that deal?
Well, if I'm a responsible firearms owner, and there are many that believe that you should have the right to carry a firearm, and because they are responsible owners, shouldn't you know where your firearm is at all times? And his story was that he was in his bag and he forgot about it. I'll take him at his word. That's fine. He's a don't say straight shooter, but he's very upfront and abrupt when he answers questions often. And if he forgot about it, that's fine. But then, are you really a responsible firearms owner if you don't know where your weapon is at all times? That's my query. So I think he handled it as well as you could. It's here's what took place. Here's my statement. I cooperated fully. I notified NASCAR and everyone immediately, and I consider this matter closed. This is going to be a non-story, I think, in no time at all.
Yeah.
Well, he's in the right place. Richard Childress loves guns. Now, it's a bit of a difference between a handgun with hollow point bullets, but he is in the right place with RCR. Like this, I think actually will help Kyle Busch appeal to a very big audience that he wasn't appealing. And I don't think it was a publicity stunt, but as what should be a responsible gun carrier, more power to him. big mistake.
A publicity stunt. You're the only
No,
one
it's not.
stupid enough to carry a gun and call it a publicity stunt. But just to go
Oh,
back
that
to not
stuff.
know,
You don't think stuff like that happens with quote unquote celebrities that get arrested? Oh,
yeah,
I
but I
It's like a
disagree.
sex tape. It's
I
just
don't
like a
think
Right.
sex.
it
Like,
yeah, but if you
I
want
don't
to
think it
whip out
was in
your
this
weapon,
case, but yeah,
if you want to unleash your own weapon in your own country, that's one thing. But to carry that weapon to Mexico, you got big balls.
that's
Let's
it. I think he forgot.
now
Go ahead, Clinton.
he's been sentenced. Sorry. Go, Clint.
I was just gonna laugh because I think it was our flight to Newfoundland. I took my bag, and on the way back, they found a pliers and a giant screwdriver, and they made. And I'm like, I didn't even know it was in there, because it's truth. I didn't know it was in there from a service call, and then I'm thinking, well, how'd it get from Toronto out east? Because it went through the
I've had that
X-ray
happen
bag.
too with the corkscrew. Same thing. It's like, oh, you can't
Oh
bring that
yeah,
with you. Well, I've been traveling with it for years.
But
right on.
you can carry on a 14-inch metal air pressure gauge. Same thing. It was in my
You
work
got
bag.
through that too. Okay,
Yeah,
Todd.
yeah.
Chrome digits everywhere. The hot new trend. What's going on with that? It was like they all got discounts on their vinyl wraps this year if they use chrome. I love the look, but I was stunned to see how many guys are out there doing it.
Wasn't there a rule a few years ago that you weren't allowed to have chrome numbers unless you got a specific okay from NASCAR? I seem to recall that being the case. So I guess they
Yes,
decided
there was.
it's okay, and everyone said that, well, we're doing it then.
Maybe it
Shiny
was
Well,
new,
let's
whatever.
official.
see. Remember, they used to come out with it for the All-Star race. So maybe we're not going to see that during the points paying races where you get a little bit more leeway in these.
True.
But I want to move. I want to move on to IndyCar because to me this is a big story, Todd. It was
Okay.
Sportsnet, wasn't it? I don't think it was the Score that used to.
It was IndyCar was on Sportsnet through 22, and TSN just officially announced that they are taking IndyCar back again. They had the rights before going to Sportsnet in 2013, and now it's back on TSN.
I thought Sportsnet did a much better job. Like when they took it from TSN, I thought they invested the right infrastructure and gave it the right support. I think it helped you get to some races, but they really did lean on it and buy into it. Do you think TSN is going to do the same thing?
Not a chance. That simple? No, it's going to be a plug and play. That the TSN will carry exactly what is distributed by the U.S. network carrier. And the interesting part this deal is that I believe it's 8 races will be on one of the TSN channels, and the balance will be on their new streaming service, TSN Plus. I have not seen or heard anything about whether or not they will carry practice and qualifying for any of the events, but this is how they're going forward with it. So I don't believe that they'll invest and send people to races. I guess perhaps that they'll have someone cover Toronto, but I think that will be the extent of it.
Todd, what's this going to do for Canadian fans? Is this good or bad for the series? And where, like, it's been troublesome to find these races for the past few years, has it not?
Yeah, it has been, and that's been part of the issue. The good news for Canadian fans over the last couple of years is that IndyCar has put so many of their races on network television in the US on NBC, which you can pick up with an antenna. You don't even need a cable or satellite signal or streaming signal. If you want to watch the race, you can watch most of them on US network over-the-air television. In the US, there's an opportunity to pay a very nominal fee for a streaming package where you get all the practice, all the qualifying, and the races as well. And in the US for the Toronto race, for the second straight year, it will only be available via streaming. It won't be available on television. So it's kind of a mixed bag. It's sort of the transition that the world is going through, whether it be television or cable or streaming. It's a transformation that's taking place. So prepare for different modes of distribution that you're going to be watching. And this will come for NASCAR too in their next TV contract.
Right on, Todd. Thanks for joining us, man. Where are you going to be this summer? Let everybody know.
Oh, I'll be up at all the Pinty's races, of course. I'll be at I'm working at the Indy in St. Petersburg in a few weeks. Actually, I'm going to be up there during the Toronto Auto Show as well for a bunch of things. The Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame induction dinner is on the 25th, so I get to host that again this year, which I'm really pleased about. So that'll be those are some of the things coming up in the next couple months.
Right on.
Awesome. Look forward to seeing you. And always fun to chat, Todd. Thanks for coming on a little bit earlier than you thought you were going to.
My pleasure, guys. Anytime. Always happy to chat with you. Have a great night.
Todd, before you leave, where can we catch your show with Caitlin?
Oh, the Racing It Out podcast, available on all your favorite podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Racing It Out, at Racing It Out on Twitter and Instagram.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good
Thanks,
night.
guys. Chat soon.
Todd Lewis, everybody, who is one of our broadcast partners. We spend a lot of time out on the road with Todd, joking and having craft beers. They do. I'm not. Can't drink that stuff.
You know, I don't know where they get the energy, Clint. Like yeah, we're going for dinner. Like, I'm going to bed. Mentally I was in bed 3 hours ago, and they're still hard at it and going out.
I got to tell you, on some of those nights, I was right along with you guys tired, but I did get my ass down to dinner for half an hour to an hour. And I got to tell you guys, you in the truck have to do that a bit more because it's well worth it. Good bonding time with the guys, too. Next up, our guest is Jeff Cassidy, one of the principals at Sauble Speedway. Jeff, welcome to the program. Can you hear us? We got him muted.
I can see his lips moving.
You got it. Yeah, we got you, Jeff.
There
How you
we
doing?
go.
I'm not sure that was me or the program.
No, we're all good, Jeff.
All good, man. So Jeff Cassidy, for those who don't know, has been around the sport for an awfully long time. As a racer, I want to think Jeff is having more fun with the next generation coming up through, and now as an owner of Sauble Speedway, because he seems to have really embraced that role. But Jeff, what on earth made you want to buy into a speedway?
Really, I'm not sure today, to be honest. I mean, I just thought it'd be exciting. Obviously love racing, want to be part of it a long time. My kids are involved today. You know, we did the karting deal. We did some mini trucks. My oldest daughter drove the late model for a little few years, but they're busy in their lives, and that's important. There's more to their life than racing. Racing's a hobby, and we all got to remember that. Love Sauble Speedway, just the Sauble area. It's a destination. It's, you know, you don't go there just for the race. You go up there, you spend some time, you camp. It's just a great area to be in. Originally, I was going to buy the whole racetrack, was my idea. And then when I sat down with Paul, he kind of scared me, to be honest. He was very forthcoming and honest. And the best thing we did is I said, you know, there's better to be two of us in this. We both had other businesses to run and stuff. So it's a lot easier to run together. And Clinton's got a big smile on his face because, you know, being part of a racetrack's not an easy thing. There's always challenges.
It certainly is. You know, you've been working since you started there to make a bunch of improvements, and you sent us a great email with a lot of the stuff going on, and I don't want to miss any of that, Jeff. So let's jump right into that. You know, when you take over any speedway, there's always things you can fix up. I mean, whether you own it now or whether you just took it over, you guys have already made some improvements for the 2023 season, and you got more planned. First off, let's tackle some of the stuff you guys have already taken care of. On your list, you added the pro lates, repaired the track in turn 2, some pit asphalt resealed, and some washrooms freshened up. Tell us a bit about some of those improvements.
Well, track 2 has always been rough. That happened a couple years after they repaved it. Back, I wouldn't even guess the year, but it'd be somewhere around 2007. There was an antifreeze leak, and it's very rough there. And it was always character for the track, but it was getting worse and worse. So it was a good time to patch it. We have all season for it to settle. The nice part about it is it's actually in the outside groove, just barely. Sauble has got very good side-by-side racing. And if you pave a track, you lose that for a number of years. And The track's still in good shape. That was just important to get done. Obviously, the last couple of years we added, I'm going to say 25 new cement pads, reconfigured the pits, paved the pits. So the original pads and the original asphalt just looked very old and dirty. So we had it all resealed. And again, it's got all winter to settle. In the spring, we'll paint some new lines, line up lines and stuff, but just cleans the place up. Paul started this when he bought it before me, but we've been able to advance a lot of things. Just the investment together makes things a lot easier to do. And we still have a long list. I'll be honest, our list is getting down. We're probably under 50 more things to improve, but the big ones are starting to go away, like asphalt, pads. Those are expensive things. Washrooms, freshening them, that was important. We just want to get a head start for next year. There's just, spring's always wet, busy, hard to get everything done. It's just even up there, it's so wet early in the spring. Sometimes you can't even get in there till middle of May.
Jeff, you talk about, and you're absolutely right, it's a destination. Because if you're going to go to Sable, you should go up for the weekend. There's a lot to enjoy. How does that different? How do you tackle it differently than you would, say, down at Flamborough Speedway or anywhere else, knowing that your target market is busy at the beach till probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yes, it's really different. So some of the other racetracks, probably 70% of their customers are repeat customers. In our case, 70% of our customers, people that sit in the stands, are new customers every week. A lot of them don't know what racing is, never seen a racetrack before. We spend an awful lot of time on radio ads, social media, driving around downtown on the beach and stuff. Obviously, door to door with brochures. It's just different up there. We need to do a better job of Google searches and that sort of stuff. But again, it takes time. Last year we launched a new website, weren't ready for it. Our website's still not where it needs to be, but hey, we're working hard every day and eventually gets better, but it's different. We do bring in a lot of touring series, which obviously bring people, and they do a lot of advertising, co-advertising with us, and that always helps too.
I know from our experience, racing is definitely good for the local economy. Anytime we've gone up there, like since we started covering these races, I've camped there going on my 4th year now with my family. I love it up there. I mean, one request, Jeff, before I get into the taboo topic of streaming. Let's talk about any chance we could get an APC parade down that beach strip and up the main drag on a Saturday in the summer. I think that would sell some awesome tickets, man. How cool would that be, Adam, to see them rolling along the beach avenue there? That's 100%. One of my little APC fans. But one of the things we've done too is even we've made a point to send our drone guy down there to catch the beach as part of our intro up there, because we understand it's a big part of the deal. But Jeff, let's talk about streaming. We understand your concerns about streaming being your destination, and you're probably the farthest one out of the realm, so people are more apt to maybe say, hey, I'm going to hang home and watch. And I know Paul's heard people in the campground say, why come over when we can just watch it? We just stay in our campsite. Thoughts on it?
Well, first off, I got to say streaming's been very good for the sport in general. I mean, it's all about catering to our sponsors. Doesn't matter if it's sponsors on the race cars, sponsors of the racetrack. It has been very good. You guys have done a great job, especially through COVID. I mean, racing wouldn't have survived without streaming through COVID. I mean, it really helped. My concern, and data-driven guy, it's always hard to realize how many customers didn't show up. They stayed there. I'm guilty of it here once in a while. I pay for some streaming, see some down south races and that sort of stuff. I just think we need to have a better business model in the future. Whether that's, pay per use and a revenue share or some kind of delay. We do some TV coverage. We could do them live. We choose to delay it. Not saying we're always right, but it's so hard to decide today. Streaming's very important for the future. We need to get it right. We all need to be financially healthy. Just a lot of concerns we can't answer. I'll leave it to you guys. I'm not here to bash you. I did see Adam's, close last week, and that was going to be a topic. I knew that. You guys, Adam knows me very well, and Clinton, you're starting to know me pretty good. If I got something to say, I don't say much, but if I have an opinion, I'll bring it up. And no, I'm like a dog with a bone. If I think there's something that needs to be fixed, I don't give up on it.
No, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm glad Clint asked the question, right? Because the business model is what matters, like you said, Jeff. And you have to take all of it into account. What's going to be the greatest benefit? What's going to provide the greatest growth moving forward? And not the growth of viewers, the growth of revenue, right? This is supposed to be a revenue generating operation. Your Speedway, GeForce TV, all of the above. So there needs to be cooperation. Without the pandemic, we never would have landed where we are today. Do you think that's fair to say, Clint?
Oh yeah, I mean, our association with APC definitely took us to new heights and opened up new doors for us. I know everybody sees all the ads on GeForce and thinks you and I are getting rich. It's certainly not the case. We basically cover the cost to keep the staff going, right? To put on a good product. And could we do it cheaper with less equipment and stuff? Yeah, we probably could. But the only thing that I look at it, and it's not like we're trying to hurt anything. I mean, we're the biggest fans of the sport, and if anything, that we thought we were going anywhere. Jeff, I think the biggest thing that gives us relief is the last 2 years, every Sauble event's been damn near sold out. Your grandstands have been packed each night we're there, and I look at that when I'm going home thinking, okay, we didn't cost him any seats because they were all full, and still we had 20,000 people got to see Sauble Speedway tonight. So that's kind of those are the takeaways that we take away driving home in our 3.5 hour tow back, and thinking, were we a success? Was it a win-win for all of us? So that's kind of where we're at. And I mean, we certainly understand your concerns. And I think, like I said earlier, you're the farthest up there. So if the weather's even questionable or that, you're probably the one where they take that, hey, I'm going to sit home and chance it out attitude more than other places. So, hey, we grasp your concerns.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, is working together. At the end of the day, we're all three of us believe in racing, and we're looking for growth in the future. That's what we're all looking for. And it's important to talk about these issues. Can we solve everything right away? No. Sometimes it takes time.
What we need is all of our people to do what that couple did from Fairport, New York. So we've talked this, Jeff, all the time, but we got to witness it at our weekend this summer. We had a couple hold up a sign in the crowd and it said, "We're from Fairport, New York. We watch GeForce every week and had to come check it out." And we were automatically Googling how far it was. They were 4.5 hours away. So they watch us every Friday, drove 4.5 hours to just experience it. So what we need all our APC viewers is to say, hey, I found Sauble on GeForce, and I'm here tonight this summer when we show up and show Jeff we're doing a good job. Jeff, what other topics should we be talking about with regards to Sauble? Any other messages you want to get out there? Anything we're missing?
Well, it'd be nice to talk about our United Eights and combined force. It's kind of bracket racing. It's pretty unique, pretty new. I'll be honest, when I first bought into the racetrack, Paul and Joe Chisholm at the time was our general manager, and Joe Jr. is the one that developed it, and I thank him for it. But I thought they were all crazy. Like, why would you even discuss bracket racing in Oval? It made no sense to me. Took a lot of discussion to really get me on side. But, car counts have been struggling at all racetracks. You know what? We need to shake things up once in a while. If we do the same thing over and over, it doesn't work. You guys got to agree with me on one point. If you write a rule book that's very strict, and you can look at NASCAR, you can look at APC, all the cars run within a tenth or two. You see it all the time. So with bracket racing, really, there is no rules. There is no rule book. The car has to be safe, has to have fenders, and don't break the time. So we're putting all the emphasis back in the racer to find the speed. You can find speed lots of ways. We've built car count. The racing's been very, very competitive. We've made some changes as we've gone along. Originally, like if you broke the time out, we call it a breakout, you would go back to the back of the pack, basically be a lap down. We've changed that to now you drop and let 3 cars go by you. We used to, in the last 5 laps, you'd be DQ'd from the race. This year, we're going to come out with you're scored 3 positions back. And this is all input from the competitors. I mean, Joe and Joe Jr. really did a good job in the beginning. And like anything new, you need to make changes. Does everybody love it? No. But I'm going to tell you the biggest people that didn't like it, once they try it and once they see the race, hey, there's nothing wrong with the racing. And every time we write rule books, we outdate cars. How many old cars are sitting around? You know, my old All-Star car I sold 3 or 4 years ago, complete, no motor, but complete, $2,500. A car like that can be competitive out there today. And that's what we need. We need the higher upper class that spend the bigger money, but we also need the lower end classes to build. That's how you build. And give it a shot. Watch it. Come see it. It's entertaining.
We can all agree. We love car racing. Love the APC series. Love the Pinty series. The costs of those race cars are out of control. So I'm glad those series exist. I'm glad there's people behind it. Keep on pushing and keep it successful. That formula does not equate to what you're doing on a Saturday night and to what we're doing on Friday nights at Ashweekend Speedway from the 360 sprint cars down. 360s are a different animal, and thank goodness we got a lot of car owners with plenty of money that are putting kids in the cars. It's kind of like 30 years ago at Ashweekend Speedway. There's car owners and drivers. There needs to be a focus more on the entertainment value and keeping the cost down, like you say, Jeff. And the one thing I want to point out, because you mentioned my close last week and putting a challenge out to promoters, we need to have conversations, because with what we do at G-Force, there is always an opportunity when we go to an event for you to sell inventory. I mean, we're there to help you. If you tell us, Adam, we want you to talk about this at these times, we've got our own inventory that we've sold, but we will always make time for that home track. And that's direct revenue. We don't want your money, Jeff. Tell us who we need to show love to and who we can help promote. And then that's on you. Go and sell that, and we work with you. And that's kind of the formula that I think will get us to a better partnership all around.
Great to hear, Adam.
Well, Jeff, thanks for stopping by. As we get closer to the season, make sure you come back. Let us know what's going on with those improvements, and always great to have you on the program.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. Have a good night.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Have a great night.
Man, buying a speedway is tough, Adam, especially up in vacation country. But Jeff's, they've done a good job. I mean, like I said, anytime we've been up there, the place is clean and packed with people. So that's always good.
And the one important thing they've got up there is John Carly. And similar to you, Clinton, they have that insulation between them and the racers. Because racers will burn out a track owner in no time. Don't know how John and Frank Cassidy have done it for 50 years. They will chew you up and spit you out. That's why you need that go-between to eat some of that headache and keep things running.
You know, Terry Vince is just going to join us here shortly. Before we get into that, or we should get on Terry. We'll have our Burger Barn video of the week later because we've been keeping Terry on hold. Mark De Silva says he believes a lot of fans would never pay for a stream, partially because of technical ability. The tracks that give away the stream keep the interest for the future events. I fully agree. That's one thing we worked on from day one to make sure there was no sign up, no, you didn't have to get your wallet out, no credit card, no nothing. You know, it had to be point and click. So the 75-year-old fans could get through it, you know. So my dad could get on the line if he needed to, and some of the older fans who watch. And I think that's the beauty of what we got. Adam, I think you'll agree, as we move around in the summer race to race, I'm personally shocked at the age demographics we have here on a Tuesday. Some of our older fans, you guys out there watching, come up and say, hey, where were you guys Tuesday? And I'm actually shocked you're paying attention to us on this newfangled
yeah, absolutely. And the way we do it puts a lot of pressure, Clinton, on you and I. Like, we're the ones that sell the product, right? We know sitting down, look, we need to generate this much money. We've got a lot of people. The production cost, the number of people we bring to a race is people might not believe it, the amount of expense that we have, but that's that's a choice when you look forward. Okay, we got to sell X amount of dollars, and we're not going to charge anyone to watch. So this is all advertising. Go out and make it happen. The people that do it on a pay-per-view service, they've got to focus their attention elsewhere. Like, it's just a different idea, but either way, you've got to bring money in to make it work.
Another guy who needs to bring money in to make it work is Terry Vince to pay the bills, selling motors, getting it done. Terry, welcome to the program. Since we spoke to you last time we talked, you were just owner of Humberstone Speedway and an engine shop. Now you're partnered up with Glenn Stiers and playing a role in the power plant end of GSR Racing and GSR competition engines. How's it going?
It's going great. Nice to be on the show. Hi, Adam.
Good to see you, Terry.
Things are going good. Go ahead.
Terry, first off, let's take Humberstone out of the way. We're going to work to have a big release here next Tuesday. But what are you thinking on Humberstone? We get a lot of questions on that, and then we want to jump into the engines and GSR and where all that's been going. But Humberstone side of things, what's the plan for 23?
23, the plan is we're having 10 shows. Similar format from last year, kind of cut back on everything. So we're going to try to run 10 premier shows throughout the season. And opening night is going to be Father's Day, June 18th. And then we're going to go right through until the end of September again to our Fall Classic and wrap everything up with the Eve of Destruction.
Terry, you've seen a few race seasons in your day. Have you had and you have a big network of people to talk to. Have you talked to anyone that was involved with, say, Rolling Wheels, a place that was a specials only format, to kind of test the waters and see how that works compared to the weekly grind? Or is this just something that you've sort of trial and errored your way into?
I just think that locally, with Ashwaubenon up and running, and then Merrittville being so close by, and divide, 3 nights of racing to choose where to go. I don't know. I think it's just more or less my decision here locally to, try to have more of a special night at the races, and then people can mark it on their calendars and not be just drawn with the week-to-week grind, between Merrittville and Ashwaubenon running 20 some shows, and then myself running 20 some shows. That's like 60 races. It's a lot for everybody. So I think that everything going on now with GSR and Glenn, everything is just falling into place pretty much.
Let's switch gears over there. So we'll work on getting your schedule out this week, Terry, and maybe come on next week and drop that for us with all the particulars. Let's talk about the GSR situation. First off, how'd that come together with Glenn?
Towards the end of the last year, after the Fall Classic, just got chatting with Glenn, and one of his visions that he had for a long time was to have his own engine shop, and it just kind of progressed from there. And him having so many engines and such a big team to be responsible for, it's a vision that he had, and you know how instrumental Glenn is in the area and in racing and motorsports in general. So I think it's a good fit for me right now, and Glenn really wants to do things right, and I think it's going to be a great partnership.
Terry, what sort of collaborations have you guys built to set the foundation for your new relationship with Glenn and what you're trying to build there?
I'm not sure what you're.
Well, I've heard different rumblings about developing a spec type engine or getting involved in bigger programs that would see you pumping out affordable horsepower.
No, I think that the 360, the cost of a new 360 is very expensive. And I think one of the biggest things with Glenn is that, how he's such a instrumental guy in the growth of the sport and everything too as well. So I think with the own engine shop, we're going to be looking at building some more affordable 360s. We don't have to be building power for a national touring series. But Glenn has a lot of resources and a lot of parts, and this is where we're at. We have a lot of engines in-house right now, and we have a little bit of a mountain to climb. We have roughly 12 engines, and all of them are different. So it's going to take a full year to standardize everything. But the parts we're taking out of this stuff in order to standardize all the engines in the GSR camp, we're going to be putting together some cheaper engines, and hopefully we can help the growth of teams in the Action Sprint Tour moving up to 360s without going broke on buying an engine program. So we're looking at that too as well. But that's a tough one right there.
Terry, I'm around the shop enough to hear the rumblings. I hear you guys talk about, resources, and the amount of engines you have is a big concern right now with 360 motors in-house to try and make it to this season. From the outside optics is Glenn had all these motors. You just bought out the Burger Barn team. How can you possibly be light on 360 motors?
Well, right now we currently have one engine that's got 2 races on it. All the rest of them need to be freshened. So this is part of the problem that we got. So we have a lot of engines in-house. We have some engines that are a little on the heavy side, and Glenn being a bigger driver, and even Aaron being a bigger driver, we need to get our engine weights down too as well. So what we're doing is we're revamping the whole program. And our main goal at GSR, and even Brett in the back shop too as well, is we're trying to get Glenn where he needs to be again and get him back so he's more competitive and running better. And I truly believe that he can get the job done still. So it's our primary focus to revamp the engine program, get him going good. But with so many different engines, we just need to standardize. We can't have 12 custom engines with everything different. It makes it impossible to standardize, like impossible to inventory anything for these engines too as well. So saying that, time range and resources and trying to get all this stuff in a timely manner is quite difficult. Like we just, for example, ordered a bunch of crankshafts. We're talking 35 weeks for crankshafts. So already right now, we're already working towards next season 24. We're needing to order inventory for our shop and have the resources come in. So that's put us into October already. So it's just that it's not an easy road to haul right now because we have so many different variations. It's just tough.
Well, that's just what you needed, Terry, was another challenge. Because running a racetrack wasn't a big enough job for you. You needed something else to really test you.
Yeah, no, this is a good thing. It's good for the sport. And, the guys in the back shop at GSR building chassis, and you can't, we went to Florida. We had a great run in Florida. As far as I'm concerned, we debuted a brand new car, and flying home from that event, I can't really think of too many other people that have actually built their own chassis and went and raced it and was actually competitive on their first outing. So hats off to the guys in the back. You got Brett working hard back there. You got Steve, Ricky, you got Mark back there working. Lee's been instrumental helping at the shop too as well, putting the cars together. So everything has been going good. Glenn ripped around Volusia at 14.5. You know what I mean? That's nothing to sneeze about when fast time was 14.1. So we know we got some work to do with our engine program and the overall weight of our car and stuff, but we're going to get there. That's for sure.
Terry, a lot of guys see Glenn out just being a rich guy, having fun. Tonight, he ran pretty good. I think he finished 6th in this feature. I think I saw with the UMPs at Volusia again tonight. He's got the APC cars going down there next week with Whitey to run Smyrna. But he's not just out there floating. I know the performances hasn't been where him and the team want it to be, but he's taking this seriously, right? He's working out every day, eating good, practicing, racing as much as he can. What are you seeing from that on the Steyr side? We're hoping to have him on in about 2 weeks. He's just so damn busy and traveling all the time. We can't get him and nail him down on a Tuesday, but you're seeing it firsthand. What's your thoughts on that, Terry?
Like, you got to hand it to him. Glenn's in the gym. He's working out. You can see that he's eating better. And we talked about this today. Like, I think he calls it speed therapy, right? He wants to get behind the wheel as much as he can, work on his reaction times and all that stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it. I still think that he's, he can wheel it. There's no doubt in my mind. We're working towards and getting him back in victory lane this year. And I think that if anybody deserves it after everything he contributes in racing and motorsports would be him. So we're pretty much dedicated at GSR to get him where he needs to be.
I haven't really been critical of Glenn over the years, but I've sort of been vocally observant that when things didn't look quite right, he looks to be on his game. He did at the Chili Bowl. He looked good in Volusia. He was holding off top-notch cars down there at Volusia. Like, he really looks like he is back in the right headspace, in the right physical space to get it done. So I think you're joining the team at a good time, Terry.
No, and it's looking forward to it. So it's just going to be hoping that 23 is going to be good. I think we have all the right people in place right now, and it's just a matter of not overdoing and stressing out our resources. Like, it's going to be not an easy road. Like, we're hoping for. We can't afford to break anything right now, and nothing is really for sale because of the problems on getting the parts. It's just a very difficult road right now.
Terry, before we let you go, let's just talk about the rules. You were in on the rules meetings for the Ontario Dirt Competition Committee, which governs the mini stock, street stocks here on dirt. We had Doug on last week to talk about, how cool it is that everybody works together. We have a good little association going there, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the ODCC is in a great spot right now. It's great to see all the tracks working together. I recently spoke to Don not too long ago regarding working with him too as well. So I think we're past all that point where we all can work together. Coming from the engine side of things with the ODCC and the rebuilding of the engines, I think that has got off to a great start too as well. GSR is inventorying the pistons and the engraving of the cams and the engraving of the pistons. We have that in stock right now. And working with a supplier where we were getting the pistons for the rebuilds. We have inventory now. So I know we are finding our way. We have a CNC shop that's dedicated to doing our engraving and getting him on board to engrave them in a timely manner. But now I think we have at least 6 sets of pistons and 6 camshafts in stock ready to go. So this was part of the struggle with the ODC rebuilding program, was getting the parts in a timely manner. And I think we have that under control right now too as well.
Right
Sounds good, Terry. I'd like to read the last comment that just came in, but I think it's in Mandarin or Arabic, so we're going to pass up on that. But thanks for taking the time to chill out with us, Terry, and talk to us and try to get some sleep. You're a busy man.
No, it's all good, boys.
Thanks, Terry. Have a good night, man.
Yeah, take care, pal.
Terry Vince, we'll have the Humberstone scheduled for release next Tuesday, if not sooner, here on the program. Anything you want to wrap up there, Adam?
I had heard rumblings that there might be some involvement out of their shop with a NASCAR spec type program. So I was kind of digging a little bit there, but I didn't want to ask directly, and Terry didn't offer it up. So we'll leave well enough alone and see what's coming down the pike.
Right on. So our Burger Barn video of the week, snowmobiles this week, Adam. This is the International 500, I believe it's called, and it is a wild, enduring, and grueling snowmobile race. What do you know about it? I knew it came down to a crazy finish.
I know it's got to be cold out there to have these races, and I know the fans are rabid for it. I mean, it's just like they get jacked up for this type of thing. I'm looking forward to watching this video again. Keep in mind how long this race was for it to come down to this.
500 miles, wasn't it?
500 something.
Coming. The white flag is flown. He's coming. Joey Birch on the back end as he tries. He closes more. He's there. Joey Birch down on the inside. Erdman with what's going to happen here as those two sleds. He's there. He's by him. I think Joey Birch made the pass down there. He did. He'll push up the track. He's up into the burn. Erdman tries to come back. Here comes Joey Birch. Look at the air time of Joey Birch. He just absolutely lost. Now contact with Erdman. Again contact.
Oh.
Contact down the straightaway.
Oh, he's running him low.
This is side by side.
Almost ran him into the flag man.
I think the night now. Big contact here. Boy, oh boy. As that was a big...
That looked like a Super Dave Osborne skit.
Those things are nuts. 500 miles. Thank goodness you're here, Michael Schmidt, to fill us in on that. I was going to say here's one for Mike Schmidt, but I didn't know if you'd be up that late. You got pools to build because summer's coming.
That track reminds me of the original beach course for the Daytona 500. Like, you get digging into those ruts. Some of them were as deep as a snowmobile. And that'd be exciting to watch. How lubricated would that crowd be by the end of 500 miles?
How lubricated would you have to be to stand out there? Our guys were asking about when we'll be out doing some snowmobile racing. I think we might be too old for that. My bones just cried on the inside. I was bugging Joel. He was down doing some ice racing in Quebec there, and I said, hey, man, you need a heated vest. That was the biggest score I made this year. Bought a battery-powered vest. Will G-Force have a TV like Dirt Vision had? See, we spoiled them last year, Adam, last couple times we were out. It's not in the formal plans yet. It's in the grand dream. So we'll see where we can make that happen.
It'll happen.
I'm loving it.
Come to
Anthony's
Florida, boys.
I hope he
You
gave it a
know,
bite your balls. I'm jealous.
it's been a long time. I used to do speed weeks when I worked for Leaf Raceware. Had a lot of fun doing that over the years. Connor reached out to one of the 360 teams about helping them out, so he might wind up going down there for a little while.
Oh, yeah? Right on.
Just a
Thanks for the birthday wishes, Fran. You know who forgot my birthday? It couldn't have been any
who, Clint?
better. I was so happy that you forgot it was my birthday on Friday. Like as soon as you messaged me, you said, "What's up tonight?" I'm like, "I'm going for my birthday." You're like, "Oh!" I was like, "Yes!" It was like a wife who husband forgot the anniversary. I'm like, "I'm gonna live with that for the rest of the year." I'm like, nobody better could have
It's
forgot
true.
my birthday than Adam.
Because as much of a dick as you are, you make heartfelt posts when it's my birthday and you say nice things, and I completely drop the ball.
I
So
loved it.
yeah,
I wasn't
that was
offended at all. It was the best birthday gift you could have given me was forgetting my birthday. I relished in it. It
you're,
was perfect.
you're
All
welcome.
right.
You are welcome.
I'm loving this new plan of guest upon guest because it keeps us busy. We don't get to throw in too much of our bowl, but we're getting some good information. Thanks, Jeff, for reaching out. Hopefully, you got a good, diverse group of guests there tonight, and we always try to get them on. Jeff, Terry, and Todd helped us out tonight, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, and then coming up, Clinton, the next couple of weeks, I want to talk about the project that's going on over at Team Turner Racing that we're a little bit involved with, Connor and I. It's something really cool that they're doing. Like to see more and more of it happen. We'll cover that in the coming weeks. Lots of things to talk about as we get closer to race season.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. Thanks, Spencer, for all you do. Getting closer a week at a time. We'll see you next Tuesday.